Hey guys, and welcome to another video on the channel, and in today's video we'll be taking a closer look at Jump Force's DLC characters, their prices, and just an overall look in general to tell if it's really worth it. But before we start the video, I want to encourage you guys to help us achieve 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I know it's possible, and with your help we can get it done. So without any further ado, let's get right into the video. At a first glance, the DLC packs individually have a price of $3.99 per DLC, which is relatively cheap compared to other games. But for this video, we purchased the character pass, which had a 50% discount at the time and is still ongoing right now. The character pass brought an extra 9 characters and 2 maps to the roster at a price of $15.99. But remember, after you get the pack, you must download each content individually. But for this video, we decided to shorten it by splitting the character pass into 2 parts. And we'll talk only about 4 DLC characters. The DLCs will be Madara Uchiha, All Might from My Hero Academia, Seto Kaiba, and finally Biscuit from Hunter x Hunter. We will be comparing each character in terms of visual aspects, its moveset, and just overall comparison to the original anime. And we will give an overall score from 0 being the complete worst to 5 being perfect in every single aspect. So to first start it off, Madara Uchiha, a pretty cool villain in the Naruto franchise. In terms of visuals, I like the cracks he has in his face, referring to the reanimation jutsu used in the series. But in my opinion, he looks a little too gray. I know, they're going for the reanimated vibe, but it just feels like he's too gray compared to the overall series. But besides skin tone, everything else looks amazing. His armor and his main weapon as well. In terms of skills, he has a fire style Flame Loud, which is just a barrage of fireballs, which inflicts some decent damage, but it's pretty easy to block or counter. Continuing onwards, he has a Susanoo skill, which summons part of the Susanoo, not fully, and slashes the enemy into a little combo. This move has really good range, and it's good if you're just trying to create an opening or create some distance between you and the enemy. Moving down, he has a counter that goes by the name of Uchiha Reflection. A lot of characters in Jump Force have this particular ability, which is pretty much costs around 3 points, and if an enemy attacks you while using this move, you can counter and deal damage back to the opponent. Moving on to his ultimate technique, Madara activates his perfect Susanoo, which summons a full Susanoo, cutting down his enemies with his mighty sword. For me, this character was fun to play, because I'm a big Naruto fan, and who doesn't want to play a villain from time to time, as a good change of pace. And I really enjoy playing Madara. I give this character 4 stars because in my opinion he looks a little too gray. Talking about protagonists, the next DLC is a perfect embodiment of a protagonist, the #1 hero, symbol of peace, All Might. Jump Force gave a realistic style to all its characters, and All Might's teeth just remind me of the old Sonic design they had planned for the movie, but that's just me. But in terms of design, he looks identical to the original, which really pleased me. Moving on to his skill set, to start it off we have one of his most infamous moves, the Detroit Smash, which he proceeds to smash the ground and create a small sized tornado that sends his opponents flying. Continuing on with his second move, the Carolina Smash, which is just a tackle mixed in with a double slash attack, which is quite fun to spam on occasion. If you hold the move for a few more seconds, you can have a cool little cutscene of him looking into the camera and continuing with the attack. His third attack, the Oklahoma Smash, which consists of him grabbing you by the face and spinning you really fast and then launching you up in the air, is quite hard to hit, but if done correctly, it's quite fun. You get a little cutscene, and it's just cool overall. His strongest move in his arsenal, the United States of Smash, which is just him putting all his power into one punch and smashing you with all his strength. It's also a fun fact to know that all his moves are inspired by the United States, just threw a fun fact in there for all you anime fans. Overall, this character was fun to play. The only downside to it is that he doesn't have any counter moves or long range attack, which also he puts you at a disadvantage against other opponents like Madara, who can just spam projectiles at you. But the plus side is that his moves are pretty fast to execute and he does some decent damage. I give All Might a rating of 3.5. Now the main event, presenting, if not one, of the most powerful and most arrogant duelists, the myth, the legend, Seto Kaiba. Honestly, I have no complaints whatsoever in terms of character design and attacks. It's exactly what I pictured Seto Kaiba to be, and honestly his skill set's pretty balanced. He has some long range attacks, he attacks with his blue eyes, and he was just fun to play overall. starting with his burst stream, which is a long-range attack, which his blue eyes projects a beam of energy towards his enemies, and honestly is a pretty easy to counter. It's not really that cheesy. I don't recommend spamming this move because opponents can just simply avoid it or just hold the block and then punish you for it later. But in comparison to the ultimate burst, it's a little bit harder to counter. Sending a gigantic dragon towards you and then transforming into Blue Eye's ultimate dragon with a little animated scene, which is for sure to give you deja vu of the original show. Moving on to his third attack, one of the most underrated moves in my opinion, My Turn. This allows Seto Kaiba to draw 1 out of 3 possible trap cards, which I find really annoying playing against other Kaiba players myself. On the plus side, Seto Kaiba can't attack while using My Turn. This gives the enemy a small window to punish spammy Kaiba mains, so it's not that broken as many people believe it to be. But moving on to his ultimate move, one of my favorites in the entire game, Obelisk the Tormentor is summoned to the battlefield and pounds the absolute living heck out of its enemies. I give this character a perfect score of 5. It has every single aspect. His moves are great, and just an overall appearance looks exactly like the original show. He honestly took my breath away and so far is one of my favorite DLCs to play overall. But enough about Seto Kaiba, let's talk about Biski Cougar from Hunter x Hunter. Don't let her childlike appearance fool you, because her skill set and strength alone is terrifying. Just like the introduction, her first move called Messing You Up, and like the name implies, this move will have a cool animated short showing of Biscuit comboing the absolute living hell out of their opponent, smacking them into the air and then smacking them back into the ground. Her second skill, called Tenko. This move is quite interesting because at the first time you use it, it boosts your attack and resistance so you can do more damage in a shorter amount of time. And then the second time you use it, it releases a short beam of Nen, dealing damage to your opponent. So it's a move with a lot of room in for combos, which I really enjoyed. Her third move is quite honestly really similar to the Uchiha Reflection we mentioned earlier. Whole body is around the same as Madara's skill, which surrounds yourself with Nen, and then when an enemy deals damage to you, the person inflicting damage gets reversed and you counter it. Moving on to her ultimate technique, Macho Bisky becomes her alter ego that destroys her enemies with one powerful blow. Overall, this was quite fun to note. The little animation it had before dealing the blow was quite funny as well, because it always makes me laugh when she transforms. But so far, I give this character a rating of 3. I don't feel like it's quite there yet in her skill set, and I don't see a lot of players using it in online. But yeah, it's a pretty good character overall. That's all for today's video. Do you agree with our picks? Do you think there are some moves that are too powerful? And what's your favorite DLC characters? Let us know in the comment section below. And like always, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.